As I mentioned this weekend at Annual Gathering, we learned the art of storytelling, and you all do this very well. When we have faith journey presentations that we've had over the years, you tell and receive an amazing story. During stewardship time, folks share amazing stories. And these slips of paper, though they're just little snippets, they give us a glimpse at some of the stories we all hold within us. And we have talked thus far about Bibles that are meaningful to us. We've given out Bibles. We've even taken a quiz just for fun. And we've heard what the Bible is, and we've seen that it's not the same for every person gathered here. And that is good and holy and beautiful. Now, I happen to think that Jesus and our gospel writers are marvelous storytellers. Now, if you remember our Bible stories, both the Hebrew Bible stories and the New Testament ones, were first told as oral stories. They were told around campfire. They were told as people walked to get water. They were repeated over and over as part of a storytelling culture. And eventually, they were written down. Later, we hear that Jesus would tell stories. Jesus would tell stories around table. Jesus would tell stories or parables, as we sometimes call them, to teach. And still later, our gospel writers put them down as well to form a mostly complete story. But in the midst of this storytelling, we know that Jesus was born, and Jesus lived, and Jesus died, and Jesus rose. That arc of story is part of our understanding as Christians, but Jesus did something else. Over and over and over again, Jesus said, "Follow me." The story that Sharon just read for us, Jesus says to a tax collector, "Follow me." Friends, nobody wants to talk to a tax collector, let alone invite them into the fold. But Jesus says, "Come on, follow me." And Jesus says to us, "Follow me," and hang out with the tax collectors and the sinners. Hang out with whoever is feeling like a nobody today. Jesus says, "Follow me to those places where people are in pain, and spend some time there." Jesus says, "Follow me and reach out to people who are hurting and offer them a hand." So no matter what version of the Bible, what translation of the Bible, whether we actually read it or not, we don't have to understand these stories in exactly the same way. We simply are invited to follow. To follow in the way of Jesus. We are invited to read and to reread the stories, because every time we read it, we can see something different. We are invited to consider over and over and over again what it means to be a follower of Jesus. This morning, the choir had the best seat in the house to see the grins on the faces of those kiddos getting their Bibles this morning. That book that will be their spiritual guide, the joy on their faces. What if we were that excited to open our Bibles too? Maybe we need pictures in ours. Maybe that would help. But what if, when we read it, we laughed like we did as we took that quiz, and we realized all the things we don't know? But when we do open it and dive in, we are invited to take a good, hard look and to consider and to question and to consider where we are being nudged to follow. We indeed are invited to hear the call to follow Jesus and to consider our response to that call. Are we ready to follow? Amen.